Guys, it's Joan Ribs coming at you with another Spire chat. Tonight I am going to be talking about Reckless Charge. Reckless Charge is a very recently changed card and is only on the beta branch. It might not make it to the live version of the game like this ever, and it's going to be sort of weird that I have a video about this card which never actually really existed in the main branch of the game. But the change is really interesting to me, and it's what's been on my mind, so I felt like I should talk about it. I tried talking about other things, and I just didn't feel very enthused about them because I wanted to talk about Reckless Charge. So here we are. Reckless Charge, my interpretation of what this card is there's like a common, uncommon, rare cycle going on in Ironclad now, which is damage cards which put something into your draw pile. There was Reckless Charge is new. Wild Strike has always been around, but it's been moved to uncommon to allow Reckless Charge to move. It used to be an uncommon, and now Reckless Charge is a common. And Wild Strike shuffles a wound into your draw pile and deals 12 damage for 1 energy. And then Immolate has been changed. Immolate now deals 18 damage to all enemies and shuffles a burn into your draw pile. So you can put Dazed, Wounds, and Burns into your draw pile if you feel so inclined, in order to deal somewhat higher than normal amounts of damage to enemies with these cards. Yeah. So I don't care that much about Wild Strike and Immolate because, they're uncommon and rare. You won't see them that often. Wild Strike has always been around. I always thought that Wild Strike was pretty decent at common as an early pickup just for damage. But generally, when you're picking up damage, it's like you pick up damage early in the game and then you move on and work out how your deck is scaling up and doing good things. You don't just keep on putting more and more damage cards in your deck. So Wild Strike was never a card that I was super excited to pick up in Act 3 or something. It's just a strong early game card. And I feel fairly similar about this new Immolate card. That's a card that is okay in your deck in Act 1. I don't think the AoE is actually that valuable in Act 1, but it's fine. Especially if you're fighting Slime Boss, I guess it's probably okay, maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah, whatever. But Reckless Charge is a common, so this is a card that you'll see all the time, right? And Reckless Charge is very unique among Wild Strike and Immolate because it puts a Dazed into your draw pile instead of a wound or a burn. So you're dealing 8 damage, which is great. That's very, very strong for a 0-cost card. It's not the most that you can deal with a 0-cost card. Backstab deals 11 for Silent. Clash deals 14 for Ironclad, although it's very conditional to play it. And then Masterful Stab for Silent deals 15, although Masterful Stab is also very conditional to play. I think Reckless Charge is, other than Backstab, there's also Endless Agony on Silent, but that exhausts itself, so Reckless Charge is the only 8 damage, 0 energy card that is unconditionally playable, basically, in the game. Sort of, yeah. It deals a lot of damage. If you compare it to Anger, which deals 4 damage at 0 energy, or Slice, which is Silence, common 0 energy damage dealing thing, which deals 5 damage. It looks like conceptually the value of putting this Dazed into your draw pile is something like +3 damage on our Reckless Charge. We're getting way more damage than something like Anger or Slice, and the reason for that, the card seems to be implying, is that we get to shuffle, or we have to shuffle a Dazed into our draw pile. So, I mean, generally, yeah, I'd be willing to go out of my way to deal 8 damage for 0 energy. If you think about the Lagavulin fight, the Gremlin Knob fight, the Slime Boss fight even, energy is, hard to come by on Ironclad. I've talked quite a lot. I think my Clothesline video, I talked a lot about how Ironclad struggles with energy. Actually, I talked about that with my Anger video a lot, how you could put Anger in your deck because often you were drawing too many cards, too high cost cards to actually play them. So yeah, Ironclad needs a card that costs 0 energy, somewhat, and Reckless Charge is great. Usually when you draw this card, you'll be able to play it, and wouldn't have been able to play something else if you drew that in its place. So that's cool. And damage is good. So in general, this is already a very, very, very valuable card to Ironclad in the early game, I would say. Now, the thing about this card that absolutely disgusts me, and honestly, like, made me just stop playing my game yesterday. Like, I play alternating Ironclad and Silent, Ironclad and Silent, and it was time to play Ironclad, and I was just like, no, I've done enough runs with Reckless Charge in the card pool. I'm gonna do something else right now. The thing is that shuffling a Dazed into your draw pile isn't necessarily a drawback on Ironclad. So, in conditions which are not unreasonable to achieve at all, what this card actually does is 8 damage for 0 energy, which is very strong, plus a benefit. And it's a common. And that is game warping. That's like such a big deal to me that it like pollutes the entire card pool and the entire experience of playing Ironclad. It's so strong. So if this does make it to live like this, I highly recommend you take Reckless Charge. And I hope that you enjoy it. If you pair this card with Feel No Pain, all of the dazes that you draw are now gaining you block. If you get like 2 Feel No Pains in play and they're upgraded, every daze you draw creates 12 block for you. And that block is unaffected by Frail, and it doesn't cost you any energy. It's just 12 block when you draw a daze. That means that Reckless Charge with a couple of Feel No Pains would be sufficient as like a mitigation engine at Ascension 15. If you had like 3 Reckless Charges and some good card draw. That would be all you needed. Evolve. Whenever you draw a status card, draw 1 card, or upgrade and draw 2 cards, Dazed is a status card. So you have an Evolve Plus in play, that Daze that you draw is drawing you more cards. And on Ironclad, I made this point when talking about Snekoi forever ago, but I'll make it again. On Ironclad, drawing 2 cards isn't just like, oh yay, I got 2 cards deeper in my deck. That's great. Because Ironclad has things like Armaments. Upgrade all cards in your hand for the rest of combat, so getting a ton of cards in your hand is very valuable for that. Ironclad has stuff like Fiendfire. Exhaust your hand, deal 10 damage for each exhausted card, so getting an extra 3 cards in your hand for that is a pretty big deal. Ironclad also has True Grit. Where's True Grit? Cards like True Grit, where you exhaust cards in your hand to gain 9 blocks. So if you have particular cards in your deck that you want to exhaust, getting a lot of cards drawn at the same time is a big deal. Ironclad also has cards like Dual Wield, which want to target particular powers or attacks in your deck, perhaps. And so drawing a lot of cards at the same turn increases your chances of hitting something with Dual Wield. So the roundabout point I'm trying to make is like, this draw 2 cards off the daze is even stronger than it sounds like it is, because Ironclad benefits a lot from having a large hand size, because a lot of the cards interact in some way with the stuff that's going on inside your hand. And then also Dark Embrace. Whenever a card is exhausted, you draw 1 card. Dazes self-exhaust, so whenever they exhaust themselves, you'll draw a card. So this is a 0 energy common, which single-handedly, like, can generate all the mitigation that you need at Ascension 15. Well, not single-handedly, with the aid of some powers, which you are likely to see over the course of each run. It can generate you a ton of mitigation, and it can be a draw engine as well. And this is on a card which is a 0-cost attack, which is probably the best common attack in Act 1 right now. I'm pretty sure there just isn't a better common attack than that at the moment. So, like, Head Explode. I don't want that. I don't want that. It's too strong. It's too strong. So how good is Reckless Charge? Reckless Charge is currently really good. It makes me sad how good it is. I don't really want it to exist. I don't like looking at it. I don't want to play with the Ironclad card pool while it exists in particular. And yeah, you should probably take it and build decks around it. And I think that that will serve you well. My experience playing with Reckless Charge has been that it's been just completely, absolutely nuts. And I went to a store in my most recent Ironclad run and didn't buy a Reckless Charge at it. And I think it was like one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made at a store. Not buying a common. Like, after leaving the store, I was like, oh yeah, I probably should have bought Reckless Charge. But like, I don't even think about buying common attacks at stores. Because, like, how could a common attack ever be worth buying at a store over all the other things in the game? But no, it's like, no. Definitely should have bought the Reckless Charge. So, that's Reckless Charge. Let me know what you think. I'm interested to hear like how you guys feel about a card being that strong in the game, if that's like interesting to you or whatever. For me, I mean, maybe it isn't as apparently strong to some of you. Maybe you don't take me at my word, like, because it does, like, it deals 8 damage, but it ostensibly it looks like it has a drawback, so maybe that seems reasonable. I don't know. I'd just love to hear what other people think about this card. I'm curious to see how it develops. I'll probably play some Silent for a while until I see what happens. And yeah, I think it's an interesting card. All right. So thanks for tuning into this chat. I've been John Ribs. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Sorry I had to talk about Reckless Charge instead of something else. Just sort of happened. I'll be back tomorrow with another Spireside chat. We'll probably talk about the new Wraith form for Silent, which has also changed in a very, very strong way. Yeah, and I have links to my Discord and Twitch chat and stuff below the video. I also play in a D&D campaign with Filthy Robot, and it's incredible. And I highly recommend you check it out if you have any interest at all in watching D&D. I enjoy it so much. I guess I don't know what it's like to watch it. Maybe it won't be your thing. No hard feelings at all, but I am just enjoying my D&D campaign with Filthy Robot so much I wanted to plug it here. So, got that done. Alright. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.